The US economy is in shambles. That's pretty obvious. I'm one of the people who is willing to admit this publicly. The mainstream media, on the other hand, will not. Detroit is really the model for all of America. They are what all cities will be like, except for a handful, in the future, because this way they can have people under their control. The government will be able to control all the people. I'll show you how that's happening in Detroit, and that is spreading to other cities around the US. First, let's talk about Mark Faber, how he said the asset bubble has begun to burst. And this is brand new information coming out here. And essentially, what I'm trying to point out here is that the Dow Jones may have hit 17,000, but there is much more political issues that are going on, and that's exactly what Mark Faber said. He said, first of all, that the global economy is weakening despite the fact that the Dow Jones is hitting new highs. He also said that there are some political issues in the US domestically. I'll get into some of those right now, but essentially what I wanted to say is Mark Faber is usually a good source for this type of information. Now, of course, he's continuously predicting a bear market to occur, but when you print this much money, it's not allowed to occur, although it really should be. Let's go on here. Money available for Detroit water users facing shut-off. So they're giving $1 million to these people who are basically not able to afford their water bills, some of the most basic needs for human life, and they're unable to pay. I've got into this in another video, so I won't get into it now, but look how serious the situation is getting when they need to take funds from other individuals and they need to spread that around for something so basic like their water. Detroit Police Union agrees to tentative deal in bankruptcy breakthrough. This is the hugest news right here, something that I've been warning about, something that I've been, quote, fear-mongering about, and I will show you how this has been predicted, and it is happening right now in Detroit. Look at what they said. They agreed to this tentative deal, okay, because Detroit's facing a bankruptcy. As I said, this is the model for all of America. City after city, they're contemplating their bankruptcy and how they can, adjust their debt, as they like to call it. Take a look at this. The plan would allow police and fire retirees to keep their monthly pension checks. Right there, they're suggesting that, you had that pension, that pension you were relying on so that you can live once you retire. Well, oops, we're going to make some changes. Now, that is exactly what they want. I have been yelling and screaming about this to Canadians, to people in the US, and every other country around the world. This is what I fear. I tell this to people in their consultations. If in the consultations I have with them, my clients, they're asking me, what about my pension? What about my RRSP, my 401k? This is all being taken for granted because that money is not going to be there, and Detroit is the model for that. Let me go on. It will require them to accept a reduction in the annual cost of living adjustment increases. That's how they start this off. Do you think they're just going to go ahead and rip you off of your pension? No. What they do is they do it slowly but surely. This is a methodical process that has been going on. They're not just going to do this overnight. It doesn't work like that. They do it slowly but surely. And then all of a sudden you can't pay for the things you need. Guess who you're going to go begging to? Guess what you're going to do? That's right. You're going to have to go to the government. You're going to need their help. You're going to need to get on the welfare system, and you will be under their tyranny. This is what I wrote about in my book. I'm quoting Bill Gross from PIMCO, and what he said was that unless entitlements are substantially reformed, I'm confident that this country will default on its debt. And that happens in the cities, that happens in the states, and it happens within the country as a whole. The whole country is basically divided up into states, into cities, but they all have the same problems, that they were basically betting on these criminal activity with the bankers. What we're headed for is a lot worse than what we saw, I assure you. And the entitlement, so-called entitlement programs, your Social Security, your pensions, RRSPs, 401ks, they're all going to be taken away. And this is another city that also had a problem, that is Flint, Michigan. And they're talking about the underlying question about the ability of a municipality to alter retiree healthcare benefits. So what are they going to do? Once again, they're going to take away a percentage of what those people had thought they were going to get. So they thought they were going to live at such level, certain level, perhaps they could afford to go on vacation once a year. But now after this revaluation, perhaps they're going to be sinking month after month after month, and perhaps they'll never be able to retire at 65 like they decided, and they'll have to stretch that out until 70, perhaps 75. Who knows? Are they going to be able to live that long? And especially what they're looking for is basically in these cities here, they're talking about the health care reform. They have to pump more money into the healthcare system, possibly because of Obamacare and how it puts that strain on the economy. We're in for a real hurt in the future, and this is going on right now in cities like Detroit, in cities like Flint, and this is going to be the model for all other cities. I hope that you like this information. If you do, please give me a thumbs up. I will continue to provide info like this. I will also say that I am very pleased that X22 Report is back on. Hopefully it was just some mistake and that this will not happen again. Too many of us are getting shut down, and we need to speak the truth. We need to be out there, and we need to follow the rules, of course, and we need to continue to use our First Amendment rights while we still have them. If you want to be an insider, that is where the exclusive information is. That's at themoneygps.com at the bottom. It's totally free. You fill in your email address and you get occasional emails from me.